The wild boar, an animal which dates back to the Ice Age, is one of the most widely distributed mammals in the world. Its range extends from Western Europe and the Mediterranean basin to eastern Russia, Japan, throughout Southeast Asia and North America. They also have cousins in Australia, New Zealand, Africa and South America. It is the ancestor of our domestic pig, which was first predicted to have been domesticated during the Neolithic period in China. In folklore, the wild boar has been a symbol of power, strength and leadership. Anglo-Saxon helmets used to bear depictions of the wild boar to protect them in battle, and within Druidic lore, the female, or sow, symbolises generosity and the nourishment of the earth. Many places in Scotland still bear the name Muic, which is Gaelic for pig. The wild boar was driven to extinction in the UK in the 13th century by the Normans, who were the ruling class at the time and fanatical about hunting. Another contributing factor was the extensive deforestation, which wiped out many of the habitats large mammals require. Other countries around the world, as densely populated and industrialised as ours, have managed to hang on to theirs. Rooting is a term which refers to the action of a boar when digging in the dirt with its snout to find food. This food consists of all variety of roots, bulbs, tubers, invertebrates and fungi. The neck of a wild boar is incredibly strong, and they root holes between 5 to 15 centimetres deep to find food. On my quest to design for, with and by nature, I decided to use materials designed with ingredients foraged locally, ones which came from the earth and could be returned to the earth. I was aiming for something strong, inspired by the ancient recipes of Roman cement and Egyptian bricks. When you mix these ingredients together, you can get a wide range of materials. I understood that to make this composite material stronger, you need to get the air bubbles out. One way to do this was to make a very watery mix, which can be poured into a mould and tapped to release the air bubbles. However, upon opening the moulds, I found that many had either stuck to the walls, not hardened properly, or cracked when drying due to the curves in the mould's shape. The aubergine worked better. When it was in a half, it gave the material a better chance to harden, and the softness of the aubergine didn't restrict the material as it dried. In the end, however, I found it easier to mould them by hand, using a less watery composite. George Monbiot mentions in his 2013 book, Feral, that the introduction of the wild boar will catalyse some of the dynamic processes missing from our ecosystem. They are another keystone species, shaking up the places in which they live. The British woodland floor is peculiar in that it is often dominated by a single species, such as dog's mercury, wild garlic, bluebells, bracken, hart's tongue, male fern or brambles. Though considered indigenous, they are bordering on invasive. These monocultures, like fields of wheat or rapeseed, may in some cases be the result of human intervention, such as the extirpation of the boar. I have designed a range of ergonomic tools from the materials I've made, with the purpose to aid humans to root around in the ground like the wild boar. Whilst walking through the woods, a conscious hiker can easily kneel to root in the ground, time and time again, disturbing the roots of monopolising carpets of monospecies and giving the seeds which fall from the trees above a chance to take root in the soil and grow without suffocation. A study in 2004 illustrates the role of introduced feral pigs in the restructuring of an entire island food web. Wild pigs provided a new source of abundant food and enabled golden eagles to recolonise the California Channel Islands. Golden eagles are native to the UK and still exist in some places, though they are under threat from grouse estates which have been known to poison them. Wild boar that have managed to reinstate themselves in the UK, in the Forest of Dean, are also being culled. It is excused by the fear of nature getting out of our control. George Monbiot says, "In fact, the very notion of damage to a native ecosystem by a native species at numbers well below carrying capacity is nonsensical." By rooting and grubbing in the forest floor, by creating little ponds and miniature wetlands in their wallows, boar create habitats for a host of different plants and animals, a shifting mosaic of tiny ecological niches opening and closing as the sounders pass through. Boars are the untidiest animals to have lived in this country since the Ice Age. This should commend them to anyone who is interested in the natural world. The reintroduction of the wild boar in the UK will be a celebration of chaos and an embracing move towards an understanding that we have to loosen our obsession with controlling the landscape for fear of destroying the evolution and survival of our ecosystems. There is, of course, a danger in the population of wild boar going above and beyond that any ecosystem can sustain. However, the next animal to be introduced to counter this effect is a conversation for another time.